at some fucking tiny shits. And as you all look around after this brief bit of combat, things are on fire. Fucking like areas have been sort of like broken down and burned. Campfire in the corners now sort of got slightly out of control, and some other things are burning. What would you all like to do in this goblin camp? If anything, or you could just simply head back.
Search for goodies.
Search for goodies. Roll an investigation check.
So you still got your goblin?
Yes.
Yes, you do still have your goblin, and it is just keeping hold of him, and it is like screaming in your hands like a baby that won't stop crying. Also, are you still concentrating on keeping that hobgoblin polymorphed as a moon daisy?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick up that plant. I'm gonna keep that plant.
Yeah. So you run over, pick up that plant. You've now got a little moon daisy potted plant that was once a goblin. And everyone sort of begins looking around. Yeah, you don't find a whole lot of much. You find some more of these like thunderous arrows. They're just called booming arrows. On a hit or a miss, a creature has to make a DC 15 Constitution saving throw, take 4d6 thunder damage. Anyone within a 10-foot radius, that is. So I'd say you can find 4 of them. So if anyone wants to put 4 booming arrows in their sort of stock, they can do.
Anyone know how to
Fuck it, use them as daggers. No one does. I mean, you could sell them or trade them for something. You find 2 potions of healing and a potion of speed. A potion of speed, well, potion of healing, obviously, potion of healing. They're just 2 regular ones. Potion of speed grants you the effect of a haste spell. However, instead of lasting for a minute, it lasts for 3 rounds. And obviously, it has the similar drawbacks of a haste spell, where after its use, you are like wiped out for a turn. You can't take any actions or move or anything like that for a turn because you're like lethargic and tired. But for 3 turns, you have 2 actions. You could run, fucking Speedy Gonzalez, and all sorts of shit. So I'd say you can add that stuff to your set, as well as between all these goblins and their looting and pillaging, you find 800 gold pieces. So that's 200 each. They've done fairly well for themselves, these goblins. You can tell they moved in not too long ago, and just with some basic investigation, you can see they've mainly just been pillaging people coming in and out of Abakatsha, sort of on the roads and things. Somewhere out there is a sort of goblin patrol that is yet to come back to this camp at some point. They're like patrolling the sort of like outer roads, so they'll probably come back to this camp quite surprised, I would imagine. As well as in your investigations as well, you sort of find that this temple, as you can see there, there's like like fish statues and things like that. This is like a really old like water temple that people used to come and pray to sort of pray for things like rain and pray to the old water gods. As if you remember, this place used to be like Abakatsha's area used to be filled with water, filled with like the sea. So it's sort of like a prayer to sort of local water gods and water deities and things like that. And you can see lots of sort of symbols on the walls and things like that of like squids and whales and engravings and things like that. But with your investigations done, just so that I know who's taking the potions of healing and who's taking the potions of speed.
Can take the healing.
Oramis takes the healing.
Both of them.
I can take one of them.
I don't mind if you take both.
Or I can carry both of them and just dish them out.
Yeah. Who would like the potion of speed?
Give it to the croc.
I've got the hither stick. So
Yeah, it's, potion speed is just a temporary thing, isn't it?
just a really fast giant croc.
It's a bit of adrenaline next time you get in trouble.
I'll
Cool.
take it.
Cool, Ryan. So write down on your character sheet that you've got the hither staff and a potion of speed. D&D hit the staff. Just so that I can look it up and see sort of what it does. Walking stick is a brilliant gemstone fit at the top. This one has two, one orange and one blue, so that A, it's like a portal gun, and B, you can easily distinguish what two portals there are. Because one thing I've been reading about people is like when they're trying to describe where they're putting things, it's quite difficult them being like, oh, I put this portal here and this portal here. Right, which portal is which again? Makes it easier. Staff has 4 charges and regains 1d4 expended charges daily at dawn. As an action, you can spend 1 charge from the staff to create 2 linked teleportation portals, each one appearing on a flat surface of your choice that you can see within 1,500 feet of yourself. Alternatively, you can expend 1 charge as an action to relocate one or both portals, subject to the same limitation. The surface on which the portal appears must be big enough to accommodate it. Each portal is a 2-dimensional glowing oval ring, and together they create an open doorway up to 6 feet high and 4 feet wide. Any creature or object entering one portal exits from the other as if the 2 portals were a single opening that connects their locations. A portal can appear on a moving surface, but the effect ends if the 2 portals move more than 1 mile apart. As a bonus action, while holding the staff, you can close both portals, ending the effect, or suppress one portal, causing it to disappear until you relocate it, during which time the remaining portal can't be used. The portals otherwise last for 24 hours. So, there you go. If there is nothing else, you can grab your water skin of your water skin of the local water and head back to Abakatsha. Make your way back to Abakatsha. By now it's sort of late, quite late in the day. The sun is sort of beginning to set in the sky here. It gets more of like a deep set red than like a gold that you're used to. You make it back to the city of Abakatsha, have to sort of walk up the ramp on the side bit because they won't let you on the elevator this time because you're not with that big group. So you have to like walk up all the way around. Make it to the gates again. The same guard is sort of stood there to attention, still on his shift, and he gives you a sort of like I'm watching you kind of look. The tabaxi outside are still trying to sell some knickknacks and things like that, but nothing seems very much of use this time around. And they're very clearly trying to pawn off some items that are like really minor magical items, like a towel of drying. They try and sort of like one of the things is like, yes, a towel of drying, a pendulum of spinning, wind chimes of alarming, that sort of thing. But it's like, no, it's just basic stuff with maybe like the most minor magical enhancement, but that's about it. And funny. Pardon?
On the way back, I just want to turn to
Yes.
Glyndan at one point. He's like, that little like gnome dude. Who the heck was he? Like, he seemed to know you guys, but like, I don't think I've ever seen him before.
He looks up at you and says, "What are you talking about? He did come with you."
He came with us.
Yeah, he came with you guys. He just didn't want to get involved in the action.
Oh,
Oh,
Technically, Nathan was there as well, but we all kind of forgot about Nathan. And he says, "Well, my name is Angus Whittlewood. I am a friend of the Guardians, and your name is well, I've only ever heard people call you Mittens. So, hello.
hello.
Seems like a very derogatory name. Anyway,
Yeah, well, Mittens is a stage name, and I just hold up my paws.
be like if I called myself Hands. Hard Hands Harry is what they call me. No one calls me that. That's a dumb name.
I guess then just thank you for your help at the Jasmine Club.
No worries. No worries at all. I just maybe next time keep your head down and keep what's between your legs and your pants, eh? And he just like very, 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 very happily just trots on ahead of you guys a little bit, heading sort of back off. If you want, you can sort of try and speak without him hearing, as he seems pretty done with this conversation and just trudging on ahead.
No, I'd forgotten he was there, so.
No, that's fair. That's fair. He wasn't. He just sort of spent most of his time sat like at the entrance to the thing, and as all the explosions and going off and stuff behind him, he just sat there getting a bit of a suntan with Nathan next to him, like, lovely day. You make it back to Abakatsha and obviously into the city in no time, and things are beginning to wind down now. Marketplaces and market stalls are shutting down. Souks are slowly quieting. Places are sort of serving their like evening meals, and the evening here seems to be quite a nice atmosphere. Lots and lots of like you can see between all the buildings and stuff. There's lots of like bunting, and it seems there's people that go around with these like basically like really long candlesticks, and they sort of light small lamps that are sort of hung across the streets, like across the sort of tops of the rooftops and things like that. That gives a sort of like nice warm glow down onto the streets of Abakatsha. Heading back to the palace, you are not stopped at all this time when you head back into the palace, and the vizier Lithicus is waiting very, very keenly for you. It seems that he knew you were coming, and he sort of looks to you all, still wearing the same sort of red robes that he was wearing before, and he says, good evening, guardians. I trust you were successful. You're back rather quickly.
Piece of cake.
Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Could I please have the agreed upon item? And he holds out his hand, waiting for you to pass the water skin over to him. Just handing it over. Oh yeah, you're bringing the goblin. Yeah, you. Yeah, actually, let's go to that bit. So you've got this goblin. It is clearly trying to run away from you the entire time. It's trying to get away from you. What are you gonna do to keep it around?
I'm just aggressively holding its hand like a little tie. Maybe more its wrist. And every time it's sort of wailing, I'm just going, we as friends. We as friends. Goblin likes guardians.
I'm gonna say roll a persuasion check with disadvantage because of all the crazy shit that happened in the thing. 20. It's still very, very good. It takes the better part of the journey back home before it sort of begins slightly warming up to you, because it sort of realizes, oh wait, it hasn't killed me yet. When it realizes it's going back to Abakatsha, it's a little bit terrified, but it does sort of almost like pull itself closer into you. And by the time you get back up to the top of Abakatsha and into the city, it is basically like trying to hide under your coattails because of all the people around. And it's fairly warmed up to you, but by this point, sort of, I guess, recognizing its somewhat new master, I would say. It's not necessarily to the point where it's going to follow everything you say, and I would say you're still holding on to its wrist, so when you let go, who knows what he's going to do, but you have a little goblin friend now. You also can't understand him. It doesn't speak common. It understands some elements of common, but it doesn't speak it, other than it just sort of looking at you and saying, me goba fit.
Over a fit. Because I speak Goblin, I'm going to spend the whole journey back telling the Goblin that Oramis is planning to cook him in a stew.
Okay, now you roll a persuasion check, Glyndan. See how you roll. And this is going to be against Oramis's persuasion.
I don't know. I'll only beat him if I get that 20. Oh,
Yeah, you try and convince this.
I'll take
goblin of
advantage
this.
because I'm speaking to him in his language.
Yeah, okay. No, I will say, yeah, you are speaking to him in his language, so I will give you some kind of advantage from that. But even a 17, it's like it starts to believe you and sort of begins to believe you, but as it sort of pulled closer to Oramis and as the sort of the time goes by, it's more just scared of you than it is of Oramis, as it almost like Oramis is
Did Pop
seemingly
tell him it
kind.
sends friends at once?
Yeah, you did, and it's clearly sort of clearly quite scared of you, and almost like that's sort of part of it as well, like pulling up to Ormus's like coattails of being like he's being mean to me, pretty much.
I give it one copper piece to play with.
Absolutely, you give it a copper piece and it goes, oh, and it like a child with a dummy, it just sort of starts biting on it. And by the time you like look at it later on, he has literally bent this copper piece with its like incessant biting and moving, and it's just like and just starts licking it. It seems to really love this copper piece. But it seems happy and content, and like giving a child a toy to keep it shut up. It, is then like very sensible and stops trying to pull away from you. And yes, you now have a little friend, Gobafet. But yes, you hand over the back to where we were. You hand over the water skin to Lithicus, and he sort of takes it in his bony hands a little bit too. He holds it a little bit too close to him, like yes. Looks inside, sort of smells it, sort of.
The Sultan about?
Oh, the Sultan. Yes, he is having dinner at the present time. He wishes not to be disturbed, unfortunately. But a deal is a deal. You may all have access to the crypts beneath the palace. After your searching, we were thinking of having a dinner in your honor for the work you've done for us, and the Sultan would like to catch up with you all a little more, hear more tales of daring do. So when you are finished with your business in the crypts, you may speak to the Sultan. Of course, of course. Do you wish to go down and investigate now? Are you quite ready?
And I late.
Yeah.
Dinner time. Been walking a lot. Kind of hungry. What about you guys?
I'm happy to go down now. I'm like the present. I love a crypt though. So
Meanwhile, Glyndan does love a good crit.
can't get me out of what's something there. What you say?
I don't need to eat, so
Dinner has become a very redundant thing for you.
Yeah, pretty much. So that's 2 votes for.
What time is it?
It is, I would probably say, around sort of 6 to 7 o'clock in the evening.
However, a long rest may be beneficial for certain people. Not actually me in this case, but
Yeah, I spunk
You spunked a lot on
spunk
that fight.
everywhere. Didn't even get the fucking win. This is pointless, but whatever.
Hey, you did some good. You defeated some goblins and got a very creepy man some ingredients. He does say that there are apartments sort of like arranged for you in a local tavern. So you guys do have rooms there if you'd like to just go there and skip to morning, basically.
yeah, that's fast travel.
Yeah. All right. So he
would like
yeah.
to one, stay somewhere else for however much that'll cost me. But then I have a couple of questions about things as well.
Okay.
The Sultan's Palace, does it have
Yes.
like a big, like a balcony with like the highest point that you'd obviously be able to tell was probably the Sultan's room from a distance?
Make a perception check. 20. So with the 20, I would say yes. There is very clearly out up on like a market square. There is a very very big like sort of balcony set up quite high. That is very clearly a very regal place that you might imagine the Sultan would at the very least have access to, if not is somewhat his apartments. With the 20, you also are very aware that you're being watched. People are, as everyone else sort of heads to the tavern and you begin sort of walking around, you get the sense that a couple of guards are just keeping their eye on you. Some random people are keeping an eye on you. You definitely get the sense that you are, yes, your actions are being noticed. You can try and slip away from these individuals with a stealth check if you'd like to try that. To do whatever you're trying to do. But yes, you can see this balcony up top.
Okay. I would like to cast Find Greater Steed and summon a Pegasus.
Okay. You cast Find Greater Steed. Are you just doing this like out in the middle of the open, or like finding an alley, or where are you doing
like,
this sort of
after
thing?
we've like found where we're staying,
Yeah.
just like go out, maybe like they've got like a garden or something. Not being like, I'm not attempting to be covert at this point.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You summon a Pegasus. I'd also say for everyone else, as you guys enter in, your passive perceptions are pretty good. Oramis, your passive perception was like 20, and Kaiman's pretty good as well. You would all definitely notice, yeah, there are eyes on you in this place. Ever since you've spoken with Lithicus, there are definitely somewhat eyes on you, watching you. But yes, you summon a Pegasus. You now have a Pegasus just sort of stood there, just.
I'm going to get on his back and take off. And then as I get a little bit into the air, I'm going to cast Greater Invisibility. And because it's a summoned Greater Steed, that will affect both of us.
Sounds good. You are
And I'm
invisible with your mount.
I'm gonna shoot. Pegasus got like 90-foot movement speed, so I'm gonna shoot up to that balcony and try and see if the Sultan is in there.
Yeah. Okay. So by the time you've done, you've headed back to this tavern and done all this stuff. You make it to this balcony. The room inside is indeed the Sultan's sort of chambers, and you can see he is sat with another individual. It's not Lithicus, but he is sat with another like older individual, sort of just reading. You imagine it's some kind of tutoring session. As you can sort of hear in a foreign language, this tutor is saying something, and the Sultan is repeating it, some kind of foreign language lesson.
Okay, I will hop down and reveal myself.
You reveal yourself. The tutor sort of stands up and is like, well, what the hell is the meaning of this? Sultan goes, oh, hi, Mittens, Maximilian. Am I right to call you Mittens?
Yeah.
You're not here to kill me, right? I don't need to.
I'm here to give you a birthday present. I know it's slightly early, but I'm gonna pull out the moon daisy. And it's like, I made you a plant.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Takes it from you.
Well, I also want to tell you, we discovered how that you're staying so young.
Well, yes, it's a gift from the gods. I'm God gifted. That's why I've been such a successful sultan. Everyone around here loves me.
Oh, well, Lithicus asked us to go and get some special water that he said he gives you to also keep you young. So now I'm confused.
that feat. You know what? Let me. Could you give us a minute, Professor? And the guy goes, yes, certainly. And he runs off out of the room. And as soon as he leaves the room, you just hear, with your passive perception, you can hear him just going, Gods, I think there's something going on in the Sultan's chambers. There is a situation in the Sultan's chambers that needs to be rectified immediately. Someone please inform Master Lithicus, Vizier Lithicus. You would hear that sort of coming from the outside, and the Sultan's just like, that seems a bit weird. I'm not sure, but no. Yeah, I need to go have a word with him. You know what? Can we go have a word with him now? Can we?
What?
Cool. This is. You guys are very, very strange. And you begin sort of wandering off down the halls. As you leave the hall, several guards sort of approach, and the Sultan sort of stops and is like, hold. It's fine. He told me he's not here to kill me. The guards go, but isn't that exactly what someone who was trying to kill you would say, sir? So, oh, yeah, fuck. Oh, sorry. Didn't mean to swear. Don't tell Lithicus. Darn. That is a very good point. And you're right. You know, I trust him. I trust this man. I've heard his tales of daring do and things like that. I feel like I can be. But you know, why don't you guys just come with us? And we just need to go find Lithicus. Where is he? He's down here. Okay, yeah. And they take you down towards Lithicus, and the guards sort of trail you down towards where Lithicus is in his own chambers in the palace. Lithicus seems to be having some kind of massage this late in the evening, and you sort of open up into a large room, and he's clearly been notified of what's going on, so he's just putting on a robe. Like, if it isn't the leonin, what seems to be the problem? Lithicus, this man's told me the weirdest news. Just not that I don't, trust you or anything. He said that you sent him somewhere to go get some water which kept me young. I mean, that's not. And he goes, preposterous. I think he misunderstood. The water is to keep your young complexion, sire. You've been old for so long, and though divine magic keeps you young, your skin and other aspects of your body, your hair, nails, things like that, they can still age without you and be affected by the sun. To keep your young complexion, I had these gentlemen go out and collect some water from a lake nearby. One thing they can tell you about tomorrow is their daring do in taking out some goblins in that area. I think that would be a good topic of discussion. And the Sultan sort of stops for a second and goes, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I'm so old and my skin is still so radiant. I'm a 16-year-old boy. I don't really care about how radiant my skin looks. Okay, well that's that sorted. Was there anything else, Master Mittens? Yes, Master Mittens. Was there anything else?
There's this pot plant to give the Sultan for his birthday.
I will take this.
It used to be a goblin.
The vizier immediately takes it off the Sultan and goes, I will take this to the gardens for you, sire. You should run along. Your tutoring session is nearly up, and it is nearly time for your late supper and bedtime. Master Mittens, it is getting rather late. I think you should head back to the accommodations provided. Good day.
You have a bedtime, but you're like in charge.
Yeah, but Sultan's got a salt. I don't really know what that. There's a lot. There's a lot.
Salt.
Sultan's got a salt. There's a lot to do, and my days are very, very busy, and so I need to make sure that I'm going to sleep at sort of regular times and getting enough sleep and things like that. Lithica's just looking out for me in that regard. Yes, just looking out for the boy, of course. And he says, like, staring daggers at you now. Good evening,
Well, I guess you know,
Master.
being so old, Lithicus, you know so much and so wise.
Yeah.
Maybe next time you make some of that for the prince, you could, because you're looking a bit. I think you've been in the sun a bit as well.
Yes, I suppose maybe I could. Good night, Master Harrian. It has been lovely speaking to you once again.
Well, it's been just as pleasurable as always, Lithicus.
Indeed. You're escorted out of the palace promptly. And you almost and Lithica sort of almost comes to the door with you to make sure that you've left. He whispers to some guards, just like as you're just walking away. And the palace doors shut. You are free to do what you will with the evening. Whilst
I'm
Mittens
just
is
gonna
doing
cast greater invisibility again, and find a different place to stay for the evening.
Sounds good. Is anyone else doing
Devils have these
anything?
things around here.
Is anyone else doing anything this evening, or are we just skipping till the morning?
Skipping for me, I think.
Yeah, skip.
Cool. Skip to the morning. In the morning, breakfast is provided for each of you. It's like a sort of Persian continental breakfast. Very, very lovely, as was your evening meal the night before. Very, very lovely. Wasn't a Persian continental breakfast the night before. That would be stupid. And you are ready to take on another day. What would you? Are you guys going straight for the crypts now? Would you like to head back to the palace and go straight there?
Crypty boys.
Yeah.
Crypty boys, right? So you head towards the palace. The vizier is sort of stood out on the on the sort of front porch, almost as if he not like waiting for you guys. He's just sort of watching the crowd, but he does notice you coming. Ah, Guardians, I did expect you sometime this morning. I assumed you would be coming fairly quickly. We have prepared things this evening for a grand evening meal in your honor for all the work you have done for us, and for such noble guests you are. So when you are finished with this crypt business, maybe you can stay around for a while to join the celebration. But I will take you now to the crypts, as promised. And he takes you into the palace, down several sort of winding corridors that don't really make a whole lot of sense, down some stairs to like a sort of basement, and then down in this basement, almost like next to like a wine cellar room, down a very, very long corridor, there is just like a dead end. Seemingly just like a dead end, and it's like all stone brick down here, so like sandstone bricks. And he places Lithicus lights up his finger with the light spell, just like the light cantrip, and then places this lit finger on one particular stone, just to the sort of right of this end section. The stone lights up, and then the stone above it lights up, and the stone above that, and it basically goes in like a ring up around the roof, down the side, and down the bottom until there is like this ring of just lit up stones. And then the wall sort of ahead of you just moves to the side as like stone grinding against stone. The wall moves to the side, revealing a staircase downstairs. Lithicus sort of looks to you all and says, before you head down, there are two quick things I should warn you about. Firstly, as I said, you may take what you wish from the crypts, but if you are take what is from the lower sections of the crypts. The upper sections are often patrolled by guards to ensure that no looters or anyone has gotten inside. So, but they do not go down to the very bottom, as it is quite far. So if you're going to take anything, I would advise taking it from the bottom sections. Secondly, as I've said, the crypts are very, very long and may take quite a while to search through. They are miles long. We have a very long history in Abakatsha. For that reason, might I suggest, instead of walking all the way back here, you take this. And he pulls out a sort of small purple stone with like a swirling pattern on it. And he says, this is a portal stone. It will, once activated, create a portal which you may walk through, and you may travel back. It'll take you to a chamber within the palace, where you will be safe and able to go about your daily duties. Just be warned, once the person who activates the stone, once the stone passes through the portal, it will close. So ensure that the person who activated it with the stone is the last to go through. But yeah, basically, portal stone, as he just said, activate it, creates a 6-foot by 4-foot wide portal next to you. Think like a sort of Rick and Morty swirling purple portal. And and yeah, anyone can just go through, creates it within 5 feet of the bearer. And the person who activated it, and as I say, when the stone passes the threshold of the portal, it closes. And it can only be activated once per day as well. So only use it when you're ready to leave, pretty much. Saves you from, basically, saves you guys from like teleporting away, whatever. And why don't you guys just RP between yourselves, because I didn't realize my iPad is about to die. So just 2 seconds as I grab a charger. Oh my god.
Simon, I didn't realize you were part dragon.
Either did I. It's I just found out.
Damn. You're a man that contains multitudes. We used to have a guy that could do something like that when I was first learning to perform, but he had to like drink stuff and then like spit out. So it wasn't really a dragon. And then one
I
day,
did
like,
that.
his like mask like all like caught fire and he got horribly burned.
I did the same thing, but because I'm a dragon.
Nice. So what do you guys think of this guy, Lithicus? He seems like a bit of a jerk.
Probably kill him.
At the right moment.
Oh. Oh, okay. I mean, yeah, it seems like he's lying to the king, which is kind of rude.
Who's lying to what now? I didn't hear you. Let me just turn that around. And should hold. Fine. Cool. Apologies. I'm back. So, let me just check that it's charging. Cool. So, unless there is any questions or anything like that you would like to ask Lithicus before you head down, you can begin your entry down into the crypt.
Let's go.
Cool. You begin walking down into the crypts, and the first thing you realize is it is very, very old, very, very dusty, generic crypts. The crypts are sort of set out like a long sort of corridor, or lots of sort of it's not like one singular corridor, it's like lots of in sort of almost like a maze of weird corridors, and there are rooms, like even sort of 20 by 20 feet rooms inside this space, and in the middle of these rooms, well, these rooms are like locked off by like barred doors, and Pardon me. Inside are sarcophagi in like the center of the room, like a sarcophagus in the center of the room, and then all around it is like family possessions. Jewels, gems, coffers of coins. Bangles and jewelry and all sorts of things that might have meant a lot to them in life. You can tell on the upper floors there's not as many. You suspect because Lithica's literally told you earlier on that sometimes if he's ever in a strap for cash, he just goes down, grabs something, and sells it. But as you begin heading down, you can see more and more stuff down there. And as he says, you can take what you want. So how we're going to do this is basically, you guys, if you would like to loot anything, you can roll me an investigation check and times whatever result you get by 100. And that becomes how much money you get from the stuff you buy, or the stuff you steal. And we can say that like in your downtime later on, you sell the items and things like that, because it's not like loads of coins, but it's certainly some. So yeah, Glyndan, you luck out and find some fancy jewelry and things like that, which sells for 2,700 gold, and you can just add that to your sheet now. Oramis, you think you find some stuff that is equally as nice, but unfortunately it's from a later era, which isn't as valuable, so it's only worth 1,200. If anyone else would like to roll investigation to
free cash, might as well.
Yeah. Kaiman, you just pick up you just see coins, works, pick up 900 gold. Mittens, if you'd like to roll as well, you absolutely can do. One thing I would say, Mittens, as well, as you're leaving the space, as you're leaving Lithica's, once again, he stares fucking daggers at you. He is staring at you with an intensity that you only have ever gotten from the people who have been subject to your misdeeds and pranked and all sorts. Someone who is very, very ticked off. I would say you have a decent passive perception.
I'll just give him like a shit-eating grin as we leave, and
yeah, and I would say he closes the thing behind you, so he does take his finger off, and the wall shuts behind you. So you are.
Toodles.
Yeah. But yes, you begin heading down and down and down, and these crypts, unlike most crypts in Dungeons and Dragons, are pretty safe. No skeletons rise up from the grave to stab you. No suspicious traps open up and kill you. No mummy lords suddenly appear and try and eat your face. No, these crypts are pretty safe. They're the crypts of the Sultan, so they're the crypts of Abakatsha, so they are fairly safe. But as you're traveling down, you do not find anything that really indicates to you anything Yggdrasil-esque. If anyone would like to make me either an investigation or perception check, your choice. Everyone can do this, by the way. This is a group skill check to sort of try and find the things down there that are of use. All right, very, very good across the board. So it takes you a while to sort of maneuver all the way down, but you eventually do get to basically the very ends of the crypts. By now you are, moving away like large cobwebs, Indiana Jones style, sort of out of the pathway. Some of the areas have collapsed. The stone has unfortunately collapsed in some areas. You can't quite access certain parts, and the stone here is very weighed down, crumbling, ancient stone. The sarcophagi here don't seem as fabulous as well, I would say. Like the sarcophagi here are the sort of top levels. On the top, much like sort of almost like some Christian sarcophaguses, sarcophagi almost have an engraving embossed of the person who is dead, almost like like a statue of the person who is dead, lying there, as if they're just asleep, but made of stone. But down at the bottom, there's just almost like an Egyptian sort of feel, where it's just engraved into the stone their visage and their somewhat look, though it is in a almost like Egyptian hieroglyph sort of stylized look. But as you begin to go from the bottom as well, it's not smooth stone. There are, again, more of these like hieroglyphs and things as on the walls as you begin traveling down. At the very bottom, at the very, very, very bottom, the very final tomb you find is rather unlike the rest. It is a 20 by 20 foot room. There is a sarcophagus sat straight in the middle of it. There is but unlike all the others are sultans, viziers, family members of the sultans, sisters, cousins, mothers, fathers, daughters, sons of the sultans and the royal family. But this one seems to not be related to any of that. Instead, this one just seems to be embossed on the front as like a knight. There are no jewels or artifacts or anything else in the room. It is just a lone, solitary room with this sarcophagus in the middle, with this sort of engraved image of a knight on the front. But what interests you about this knight is that he doesn't hold a sword. He holds a shield, but he doesn't hold a sword. He holds a branch, like a branch of a tree. And upon his shield is a circle with a sort of tree-like symbol inside, which Glyndan you would recognize from Nessier's notes as the symbol of Yggdrasil. And one thing I would say with all of your investigation and perception rolls is as you enter this space and you feel this sarcophagus, all the stone down here is cold, like dead cold. It hasn't been touched for centuries. It's dusty, it's horrid. This sarcophagus, though you can touch it, does not feel cold. It feels like lukewarm. And it has that faint vibration. It's not like a heavy vibration. It's almost like if you like put your hands on your laptop when it's running like a little bit, or like a computer, or like a car that's, just idle in neutral. It's got that sort of just faint hum. What would you like to do?
See if you can shove it and see if the lid will open.
Yeah, you begin pushing with all of your efforts, and particularly Kaiman there. You can push the lid off as the sort of lid begins pushing off the side. It sort of slants on the side, and inside it is empty, just completely empty. But it still has that faint hum.
Can I
Go on.
have true sight?
Yes, you can. Use your Eye of True Sight, and you can see that this sarcophagi, though it is real and tangible, and you can physically feel it, you can now see slightly through it, and beneath it is a stairway that leads down. But it's not like beneath it as in like almost like underneath it. It's almost like this sarcophagi is almost like floating, hovering above a space, like it is not real. But you can physically touch it. It's like a tangible illusion.
Well, I relay this to the group. Can I?
It's got a physical touch. Can't actually push through it.
Yeah. It's an illusion that you can physically.
Right.
You can make an Arcana check if you'd like to try and discern potentially more about that. But otherwise, you can do whatever you want to do.
But yeah.
15 Arcana. That's not bad. You are aware of certain illusion masters who can create sort of tangible illusions out of shadow stuff and other sort of magical energies. You don't quite know how to get rid of it. I mean, there are many ways to get rid of illusions and many ways to get rid of magic. So maybe try one of them, but you know that this is not a necessarily abnormal thing for someone to do. It has been known, but it would take like a master of illusion magic to be able to do something like this.
I had dispel magic.
What level are you casting Dispel Magic?
I always like to think it should be higher when you say that.
But it's sometimes a DM trick to get your players to waste higher level spell slots when you're being cheeky.
That it sometimes is. So what level would you like to cast?
I'll probably just go for level 3.
Level 3. Unfortunately, nothing happens. You reach out with the spell magic and you can feel like a faint vibration, like your hand is trying to pass through something, but then it
The spell
bounces
magic
back.
is like counterspell though, so you have to roll with it.
Oh, yes, you can roll. So I'll tell you what, yeah, roll me an intelligence check.
And the
You have to beat a 15.
So what, D20 just add my intelligence?
D20, add your intelligence, yes.
I'll go for 50.
'24, easy. You push through with your magic, and though you cast it at a lower level spell, so it does take a little bit more time for the sort of effect to work, and it takes that little bit more of a push. All of a sudden, the sarcophagus just completely just disappears. There's no fancy sort of fading away or anything, and all the dust that was laid on top of it just falls to the ground. And beneath you is a stairway. Stairway looks very much unlike your surroundings, because unlike the old dingy crypt that you're in, it looks like a brand new stairway that was just installed, made of perfect marble and stone and beautiful imagery around the walls. There is like gold and metal sort of engraved in the stairs, almost like vines sort of traveling down the stairs. It's very, very beautiful. And if you want, unless there is anything anyone would like to cast or do before they begin to head down, you can proceed down the stairs. As you as you head down the stairs, it is a very long stairway. You've already traveled miles through this crypt, which doesn't necessarily go all the way down, but you certainly think that you are at least like a couple of 100 meters down by now. And you are traveling much, much further. You're walking down this stairway, which spirals down on itself, for a good half an hour to an hour. It wrecks your fucking knees, I would say, for anyone who's walked downstairs for a considerable amount of time or upstairs for a considerable amount of time. Really sort of begins to hurt you. You'll start to feel like very old men as you're walking down. But what's very interesting to you, well, maybe what takes your attention, is because it's very, very dark down here. I'm assuming Kaiman has the spell light, and many other people have light spells and things like that. So you'd be able to create light, and there are beautiful images all across the walls, almost like like Egyptian hieroglyphs or sort of like Greek pottery paintings, and they depict a story. They depict some kind of tale. And the tale sort of goes as follows. If you imagine this is accompanied by, all these beautiful images. Long ago, before the gods, the world was overseen by a warring group of ancient elementals called the Primordials. And Oramis, as you look at one of these Primordials, a huge squid-like creature, you can't help but just this shiver just runs down the back of your spine. These beings have been here since the creation of the world and oversaw various aspects of our earth. There were many of them. They were primordials of earth, water, fire, air, nature, etc. However, these creatures were always warring with one another, and they dragged mortals like humans, elves, and dwarves into their warring, costing many lives. These primordials were cruel, and offerings or sacrifices made to them and worship to them was more about deterring their wrath than celebrating their kindness. However, one day, 3 creatures arrived from deep in the ground, in a tree no one knew was growing. And you can see this tree symbol is like emblazoned in like bright white marble with like gold filigree around it to show that it's like glowing. One of them was a man with fiery red hair and a strong build. His name was Pelor. The next was a white-haired maiden with unequal beauty. Her name was Freya. And finally, there was a dragon whose scales shifted colors. Its name was Io, literally just I. These 3 came to this land and decided to help the people here overrule their aggressors by using their divine magic and gifting some of that to the people here, giving the first clerics power, the first paladins power, and all that sort of stuff. The three battled the primordials, killing most but sending some to far corners of the plains to hide away. With the primordials gone, the people celebrated these three creatures as if they were gods, and so they became gods to them. They realized they would need help ruling this world and the many other worlds, so Palor and Freya had many children to whom they gave the responsibility of overseeing many aspects of the world. Io, however, was a solitary creature. They introduced dragons into the worlds so that they may live alongside the people here. However, they could not bear children, so instead they split themselves into three beings to watch over the three types of dragon. Bahamut watched over metallic dragons, Sardior watched over gem dragons, and Tiamat watched over chromatic dragons. And so this is how the gods of this world came to be. And as a note, not a very big thing for you guys, but certainly for your characters, ever since you were all young, you have been told that the gods made this world. The gods created the world, and they created people in their image, yada yada yada. And yet all this is telling you that the gods didn't make this world. They just found it. Took over from some primordials and said, yeah, we're the gods now. So, an interesting little tidbit. Eventually, you come to the very sort of end of this space, and unfortunately now you begin finding lots of skeletons. These skeletons are dressed in armor, and they have, you know, many different weapons, but you begin to notice the same weapons that some of them are holding are also the same weapons that are stuck out of some creatures, as if there was a battle here between this group of paladins or this group of knights that potentially once guarded this place, and they fought against each other, killing each other, because you suddenly sort of like turn a corner at the very end of the stairway and see lots of skeletons, all armored, all you know, in a real yeah, in a real bad way, you know, with swords and arrows and spears and axes sticking out of many parts of their armor, many parts of their bone structure, and things like that. And if I just quickly shift you down to here, you appear at the end of the stairway in a room that looks pretty much like this. Ahead of you, you can see there is a doorway, but there doesn't seem to be any handle to this doorway. To your left and to your right, there also appear to be doorways with almost like handles to be pulled to the side. I've put your character tokens on here. You should be able to move yourselves around. Let me know if you can't. And in the last 10 minutes, we can potentially really quickly just get into some of the bits of this. Which way would you like to go first?
Kaiman,
Can I see anything with my true seeing?
Pardon?
Do I see anything with my true seeing?
Unfortunately, you don't see anything with your true seeing down here. There's no like illusions or anything like that you can see down at the bottom. But I would still say it's been like half an hour, so your true seeing is still up for like another good half an hour. So you're fine in that regard. Yeah, which way would you like to go, left or right?
Always go left.
Always go left. Alrighty. Yeah, I thought we could do a little bit of a dungeon crawl, so I haven't done one of these in a while, but it couldn't be a massive dungeon crawl potentially. So you move into this room and see many bodies along the floor. Up here seems to be some sort of large sort of what the fuck do you call it? Like a wheel, I suppose, with like, you know, handles reaching out for people to like push things. As you sort of get down to this place as well, it does get quite warm. You are quite hot all the way down here now. Also in the corner over there, you can see many like vases, like big pots What would you like to do?
Investigate.
Investigate? Yeah. Roll me an investigation check.
The weapons that all these people are carrying, do they
Yeah.
armor? Do they all look like rusted and decayed with time, or do they?
I'd say certainly the armor. Well, actually, I would say the armor looks. Well, both of them look fairly like in good nick, like as if time really hasn't affected them very much. But the one thing I would say is that the armor on most of them, because they're all dead and been killed, the armor is like so beat up and worn down that for most of these creatures, they are like really bust up and unusable. The weapons, however, are pretty usable. Yeah.
Okay. I just want to like cast around and see if I can find like a sword of some kind.
Easily enough
'cause-
on most of them.
Okay, cool. I will grab a longsword then.
Glyndan, the journey has taken a real toll on your knees, and unfortunately, you are much like an old man, just like you're trying to bend over to look at things. You're trying to sort of even just getting up these stairs to look around is like difficult. Thank God you have your staff, but by the time everyone else has done all their investigating and things like that, you're just about getting up because you've had a rough go of it. Lots of walking and things like that over the past couple of days, whereas you've been used to for the past couple of weeks just chilling out in the Wizards College. Would anyone else like to make an investigation check or perception check or something like that?
Why not?
I mean, if you want to. Otherwise, you can do whatever you want in this room. Perception. Right. So with the perception check, you see, you glance about the room. You can see that, there are many weapons, many dead bodies, things like that. This large crank seems to be in very, very good working order, as if it's been recently cleaned, even though, no, as far as you're aware, no one's been down there for a very, very long time. No one even knows about this place other than you guys. And you see that these pots over here, like one of them, the lid fell off like a very, very long time ago. And inside seem to be these like green gems, these like almost like a long hexagon squared green gems. Almost, you could say, like if I was played The Legend of Zelda, like rupees.
Are they like uniformly?
Yeah, they're like uniformly. Imagine like a sort of like long hexagons, like the sort of like two sides and then long and then down.
Okay, yeah, so they're not perfect hexagons.
Okay. Not perfect hexagons. That on like the side panel, the side pieces are longer, but they're no large. All these gems are no larger than like a coin.
Have they got any like etching on them, like they would have been like a currency, or are they just gemstones?
They're gemstones.
Okay.
And there are like 2 vases pretty much full of these things.
Is that like a pathway forwards, like up here, or is that like a block?
So that seems like another door, but the door on the large center panel seems to have some kind of large locking mechanism, but there's no key, not that certainly Oramis could find.
Like a lock I could pick.
Certainly does seem like a lock you could pick.
I'll try to pick the lock.
Alrighty, roll me a Thieves' Tools check. 16. You sort of begin prodding and poking with this thing, and it takes you quite a while, and you twist, and you think, yes, I've got it. Can you make me a Constitution saving throw?
Sure. Good.
10. That is a fail, unfortunately, and you take
1,000,000 damage.
on 2d10. I rolled a 10 and a 9, so you take 9 points of force damage, and you are thrown to the other side of the room. Your lock bricks don't break or anything like that. You are just thrown to the other side of the room. You slam against the wall on the other side of the room. This force damage rippling through your body, and you land in a slump.
Can I, real quick? Because I didn't do it before. I'll add it on top of the damage I've just lost. But with my my armor,
Yeah.
I can give myself temporary hit points, 10 temporary hit points 3 times a day.
Ah, yes, you can.
So
Well,
can I just top up those temporary hit points?
Yes, you can. I'd say, yeah, now that you've taken that, you remember, oh, yeah, this armor can do this thing. So you can use an action. It's almost like the armor, because it's like made of that like dragon, like white dragon scales. Like the armor gets like all of a sudden like a layer of ice just coats it. You can certainly try again if you'd like to. Though if you fail, you imagine you may take a bit of damage again.
God loves a trier.
God does love a trier.
Ah.
Make me another Constitution saving throw.
God doesn't like this trial.
God doesn't like this specific
Oh, yeah.
trier. 23. So
It is
you're
really
not
personal.
you're not moved, and you only take 5 points of damage this time, which is taken out of your temporary hit points.
This crank thing.
Yes.
Like a, like a capstan to like raise a ship's anchor.
Yeah, certainly looks like something like that, and you can tell there's like a mechanism sort of that goes deep within the ground that you
like
can't quite
clean
tell.
and tidy. Like it looks, as you say,
Yeah.
you described it as looking pristine. Given it seems a
Yeah.
bit odd. If I try and push it, like does it move relatively easily? With a bit of
I wouldn't
force?
say it moves relatively easily, and maybe you would need like I don't know, like Kaiman or Oramis' help or something like that. But at least with two of you moving it, like with one of you moving it, it can be done. But with two of you moving it, it's almost as easy as just walking with pushing like a full trolley around Tesco. And you just, if you would like to, you can begin to spin it.
I would probably give it like a push and see if it like started to turn.
Yeah, it does begin to turn, and outside in the corridor, you hear stone just, but then it stopped as you only moved it like a little bit. So there's like a brief like scrape noise and then a stop.
Okay. Yeah.
Aramis, are you giving it one more go on the door, or and also?
One.
All right. Sorry, JJ, I cut you off there. What were you saying?
If it's moving, I'll probably just continue to push it.
Yeah, easily enough. You hear stone scraping stone outside in the corridor. And if you were to look back outside in the corridor, this specific like bit here moves away. And if I sort of reveal part of the map to you, it's almost like it moves back into this slot here. So this like first large bit of stone moves away like a sort of first door being pushed to the side.
I'm lucky, folks.
Third time lucky.
Oh,
never mind.
25. With the 25, finally you like just sort of take your time. You press lockpick into the door and begin tweezing and pulling, and you've tried sort of certain combinations, and finally you just say this, and you're like holding your breath, waiting for the damage, but nothing happens, and the door moves itself to the side. As it moves itself to the side, it sort of opens up into this room here. It's almost like a small study. There are very old books and tomes on the wall. There's like a local map on the large it's called like table. Couldn't think of the word fucking table for a second then. And in the corner of the room, almost clumped up, holding on to a sort of small medallion, not wearing armor, very interestingly, almost dressed like imagine like a sort of Greek scholar with that sort of classic Greek toga type thing, is a skeleton. Skeleton simply lies there, sort of cuddling up to this thing. But as the door opens and you sort of walk in and look around, suddenly rising from the skeleton is this glow. And the glow forms itself into the image of a person. The person looks at you and says, "Hello?" Is someone there? I think that is where we'll end the session today.
Alrighty then.
Alrighty then.
Oh,
Thank you
what
all.
happened? Does
Thank you all
Oramis
for
get
coming.
cursed?
Again.
Again.
Okay. Maybe. Who knows? Yeah, hope you all enjoyed the session. Looking forward to the next one. Thought, yeah, a little bit of a dungeon crawl. We haven't done a proper one like this in a while, and I found this really awesome map that is a bit modular and can do some cool stuff with it. So yeah, hope you'll enjoy this little section. Don't worry, it's not a massive sprawling map with thousands of rooms. It's not one of them dungeon crawls. And yeah, I'll look forward to seeing you guys next week, where we can get through hopefully get through this dungeon. You're on holiday next week. Where are you going?
Yeah, Amsterdam.
Oh, ooh, fancy.
So yeah, Monday to Friday, so I won't be here on Thursday.
Sam will be having sex with a hooker legally in Amsterdam.
So you're like the fourth person to make that joke a bit boring.
There's no way to talk about Lucy then.
I mean, if people are free, oh no, yeah, if you're off next week, I'm assuming you're also away Tuesday as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess we won't have a session next week, and I'll see you guys the week after. More time to catch up on Baldur's Gate 3 and other video games next week then. Cool. Hope you enjoy Amsterdam, and yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the session. Hope you guys enjoyed whacking against some goblins. That was a lot of fun, and kudos to everybody for coming up with some really fun ways of killing a bunch of goblins. And I'm just gonna say from here on out, if you have any fun ideas like that in any combat we do, like, you know, obviously don't be afraid to just holler it out. We can roll some stuff. We'll make it, you know, we'll make things work. We'll try and make things happen. You know, I'm trying to be a bit more sort of loose and sort of free flowing a little bit in my sort of DMing style, and just have a bit more fun, I guess. I know certain parts of this campaign have been super serious and we're getting into the big scary ending, but you know, I don't want to take away from that fun, light-hearted element of this is still just a game and we're all just having fun. So yeah, cool. With that being said, see you guys week after next.